How's it going? So, long time no see. It's been a couple of months here since I posted my last video to YouTube. There are a lot of reasons for that, and one of them is really that. I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't even know if this video is going to be posted. I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out, and talking to this camera might help, hopefully. I A couple months ago. Well, let me start a little further. A little over a year ago, maybe 15 months ago, I went to New York with my girlfriend Jenny and had a great time. Wanted to pack light because it was going to be a lot of walking. You're in the city. It's not exactly like you have a whole bunch of room because you're carrying everything with you everywhere you go. And so I packed along my Leica M6, packed one lens, 35mm Summicron, and a whole bunch of film, and went out for it. And I was really excited. And after the first roll, I realized that the shutter brake, I believe, part of the shutter essentially, had stopped working. And what that meant was that any shutter speed below 1/45th of a second, it didn't matter what it was set at. So if it was 1 second or half a second, it would still shoot at 1/45th, which for day-to-day stuff was fine, but because the lighting changes so rapidly there, with all the cities and all the shadows being cast, it was really hard for me to predict when I was going to do what. So I went out and I bought a Nikon F3, bought a lens for it, and finished up the rest of our trip with that, and then sold that Nikon. And then the Leica sat. It sat for a long time. I came home and I don't know what it was, but I couldn't find the gumption to actually get off my ass and get it taken care of. I had worked with a repair company in the past who did some less than quality work, I felt, and I didn't want to take it back to them, so it sat. And I emailed a few people, Yishan Yi, Sherry Crowder, just to kind of get an idea of what it would take to fix, and got quotes back and contemplated sending them out. Eventually, though, I ended up taking it to a place here who offered to send it to Leica for me. And so, despite being more expensive and taking longer, this was at the end of February. Actually, I think I have, I have the repair order on my disgustingly messy desk here. So I sent it out at the end of February, pretty much exactly 1 year after it had stopped working on me. And it's still gone. I haven't gotten it back. But so in that time, in that span, since it broke, since I sold the Nikon, since I came back from New York, and now really, because I still haven't gotten it back, I was shooting almost exclusively with the Pentax 67 II. And I made a video on this channel talking about the Pentax 67 II. It's my most viewed video here. I don't know why. It's a great camera, don't get me wrong, but there are, just like every other piece of equipment, that it has its ups and it has its downs, and certain people like it for certain things and other people hate it for other things. But anyway, it was my primary camera for that time. And so what that meant is that, and I mean, this is indicative of my point here, because I have these everywhere, I shot a lot of film. It was great. I mean, it was great for strictly getting my numbers up, if that's what we're talking about in terms of quantity of how much film I shot in rolls. But really, you only get 10 frames per roll, so that meant a lot of rolls, and that, as you all know, translates into a lot of scanning. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but over here, hanging from my ceiling, I have black and white film. This has been hanging here since November. This film is from March. This was actually San Francisco at the end of April. I mean, there's stuff everywhere, and some of this film, some of this archive goes back pretty much a year. I mean, I went to Chicago in November, which is that. I went to Dallas at the end of September. That still hasn't been completely scanned. There's my cat. Went through a whole bunch of Northern California, really, and hey. Went through Northern California in August, have a whole bunch of film from that. I mean, I could keep going on. The point is that in that year, in that time where I started using the 67 II exclusively, I still haven't caught up with archiving. And so I needed a change. And that's kind of why I'm here to talk about this channel as a whole. I'm not entirely sure where it's going to go. I like talking about photography. I like talking about it as an art form. It's shifted a lot. If you look at my old YouTube channel, PD Exposures, going back I think to 2010, it was talking entirely about cameras, and even this channel has been a lot about cameras. And I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but I'm tired of talking about cameras as photography. The two, while they're closely related, aren't one and the same. When you hear people talking about paintings or drawing, there is some discussion of equipment used, pencils and brushes, but nowhere near the ratio there as it is with photography. We have, as a community, some at some point decided that the equipment is far more interesting and far more important to talk about, and so if you run through YouTube, that's what you'll find. And so part of what I've come to discover is that YouTube doesn't need another voice discussing cameras. There are plenty of people out there who do it far more often, with far more regularity, consistency, and do it better than I do, with access to more unique cameras and all sorts of stuff. I mean, I've been using the same setup for quite a while. So I'm not sure where this channel is going to go. But I do want to keep doing videos. Hopefully you've noticed a slight increase in quality here. That's because I got a new camera, one that takes video, and I have this fancy microphone that I bought years ago for PD Exposures TV. But anyway, I hope that you'll stick with me. I want to talk a lot about publications. I want to talk a lot about the ideas and the inspiration and the workflows that go into taking photographs. Excuse me one second. Hey! So, with that being said, thank you for watching, thank you for listening to me ramble, and I hope to see you soon.